Hi, it's Jez from Nigezza Creates. Thank you for joining me today. So I've been designing and making boxes. Haven't done this for such a long time. It's something I used to do all the time with Stampin' Up. And yeah, I've just had a bit of fun making them. So the little pizza style, this was my first one, little pizza style boxes. I put the thumb doodah on the side first, and that wasn't as easy. It's much easier if you do it on the front. This one's been made with craft card, lovely little topper. Then I did this one, and I remembered to put the thumb thing on the front, and this is an old file folder, and I love the fact it's like a suspension file. I love the fact that it's got a bit of what it is on the inside. And then I did this one, and I stuck the topper on the wrong side, so we've got one on the inside and the outside, which I really like actually, and I might continue to do that. This one edged in vintage photo, this using a sponge dauber, this edged in vintage photo just using the actual ink pad because it was a tad quicker, and this one I've gone round in gold. Which is why I've got gold all over my hands and all over my desk and everywhere, which is how I ended up sticking that on the wrong side. So what have I used? Look at these gorgeous toppers. So they're from Tracie. So I got these before Christmas because I thought these would make lovely gift boxes. I never did it, but they're also got you can store things in them, split pins, paper clips, binder clips, bits and bobs. Love bits and bobs. I've got a whole drawer that's got bits and bobs. You've got labels there that you can put on, but they're all really nice, and they're designed to go on top of this sort of tin here. Tracie said that if you print them at 100%, then they come out sort of at the right size for this. I went 100% and then I went borderless, so mine are a little bit too big to go on these tins, and I thought, oh right, okay, and then I thought, well, doesn't matter, I'll make a box to fit them, so it's absolutely fine. And as well as ones, you know, actually designed to have things in, you've got these pretty ones, and it was these ones that I thought they'd make great gift boxes. I also thought they'd make great journaling cards as well. So yeah, I just love them. And then you've got these that you can put your own ideas on them as well. So I cut some out, and that's where I ended up. And I've got one here ready to, you know, to do with you. Very simple to cut out. I'm going to go to be teaching Grandma to suck eggs here, but I mean, I was going to cut them out on my Scan and Cut, and actually the ones that are funny shaped like these, I probably will use my Scan and Cut for that, but I mean, you can still hand cut. So I just went down there. We'll just roughly go down there, and then just didn't take long, just sort of eyeball it. Don't matter if it's a little bit gone over. So that's the 4 edges done. Put that in my little bin, and then I just got my corner rounder, and I just rounded off the corners. Not that bothered if it isn't quite, there's still a little bit of white there, but once you've inked, inking does cover up a multitude of sins. So that was how I prepped my topper. Okay, easy peasy, a lemon squeezy. So then I had to work out how I was going to make my box. So I measured and I wrote my measurements down, and it's 3 11/16. That's a horrible measurement, by 2 5/16, an equally horrible measurement. But if I wanted it to go on the box, then I wanted it to have a little bit of a border round. I didn't want it to be the exact same size. So I added 3/16 to each of these, so we came up to a whole number. So it's 2.5 by 3 7/8. So that made it easy. Okay, I drew a little diagram, but I am going to show you now how I worked it out. And by showing you how I worked it out, I hope that if yours come out a different size with your printing, that you'd be able to work it out. So basically you need a rectangle and an even size all the way around and across the center. Okay, so we have worked out that we want, so it's going to be 2.5 at this point here, but the way you've measured it, it might be different. You might even be using centimeters, so you could put 6 centimeters or whatever 2.5 is. It's roughly 6.5 centimeters probably, across there. No, that's down the side. Scrub that. It's 3 7/8. It's down here. That were 2.5. Okay, that's that measurement there and that measurement there. Then you decide how tall you want your box to be. I've gone for 1 inch. You might choose 2.5 centimeters. You might choose 2 inches and make a really big box. You might choose it to be smaller, 3/4 of an inch. So whichever you decide, you write it in there. So I've gone for 1. So that's 1 inch, that's 1 inch. Yeah, and this is 1 inch. Yeah, so these are all 1 inches. Okay, so when it comes to what size you want your piece of card to be, you add it all up. I hope I'm not confusing. So that's 3 7/8. We've got 1 inch there and 1 inch there. So it's 5 7/8. So that's where I've got my figure there of 5 7/8 wide by, that's 2.5. So likewise, that's going to be 2.5. And these are also 1. So 2.5 and 2.5 is 5, plus the 3 is 8. So it's going to be 8 by 5 7/8. So whatever numbers you've got for your width across there, you write it there. For your width across there, you write it there. Add whatever you want your height to be, and then just add your numbers up, and then you'll have where you want it. You'll have the right size card, and then you can work out that what you're going to score at. You're going to score here at 1, then that's 2.5, so you're going to score here at 3.5. Okay, going along this way, you're going to score there at 1. It's, do you know, it's because I'm looking at that. That is 3 7/8, so this is going to be 4 7/8. It's actually easier to do when I've finally done it. That's going to be 1. That's going to be 3.5. That's going to be 4.5. And then another 2.5 there is 7. That's where your score lines are. That's what we're looking at. Screenshot that. That should hopefully make some sense. But I wanted to show you how I kind of did it so that you can change it to be whatever height you want, whatever size you need your box to be. So I've got a bit of suspension folder here. It's quite a nice, I think it makes it look old. I love the colour of that with it. I think it works really, really well. So this has just been randomly cut down there. The side is pretty straight, but that's a bit not so much. So I'm gonna check, is it more than 8 inches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it might not be. I thought that was easily more than 8 inches. 6. Oh, it is. It is. So 5 7/8 up there, and then 8 inches. So I'll bring in my little extender. Is that straight? Yeah, I think so. So 8 inches, and we'll cut it down. So there we go. That's my bit of card, and I'm going to use a scoreboard. Now, if you haven't got a scoreboard, you could do it with a ruler, but it really is easier with a scoreboard. If you're going to be making a lot of sort of boxes and things, then it is worth investing in a scoreboard. I'm going to put them on the inside. So the easiest thing to do straight off is, as I'm doing 1 inches all the way around, then that's what I'm going to do. If you're doing something different, if you're doing 1.5 inches, 2 inches, whatever it is you're doing, then that's your first thing, is I just keep turning and do 1 inch all the way around. I like pizza style boxes because then you haven't got to worry about the lid fitting the bottom. If you use a box with a lid, then that is always something that you've got to think about. So now we know we want it to be 2.5 along this way, so that's where we go to our 3.5. Oh, I slipped. 3.5, and then our 4.5, and there we're all done. So we didn't have to worry about these two. We knew that was 1. We didn't have to worry about that being 4 7/8, because you've just done 1 all the way around, which is what I meant about it's actually easier when you do it when I was drawing it. So that is now the same as that. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to fold and burnish all of these score lines. So you can use any cardstock to do this. I just happen to have loads and loads of file folders. I got them in a charity shop, and then my son got me a load. He bought he spotted a little under desk filing drawer thing, and he knew I wanted one, and so he gave it me, and he didn't need as many file folders as I do, so he gave me a load, and it was far more than I needed, so I've got loads. Now I'm gonna, now at this stage, before you do any cutting, that's when it's much easier, unlike what I did the first time I made it, it's much easier to now go down these edges whilst you haven't got flappy bits that you've cut into. This also makes it a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing, but this makes the process of aging the corners so much easier. You don't have to do this bit. I just like things to look old, and I will go around the very edges as well. Don't have to worry about the corners so much because you're not going to see them, but these bits I do. And you could go completely bonkers and mad and do the inside as well. The inside isn't going to get quite so dirty as the outside of anything. It's not going to have quite so much sort of wear and tear on it. So I'm not over fussed on what's going on the inside as I am the outside, which is why I'm not re-inking, because just a little hint, whereas I like it well and truly grungy there. Okay, we might need that a little bit in the middle. Right, so now I find it easier to go on the inside because that's where your score lines are coming up a bit. You've got a ridge, whereas on the other side there's less. Oh no, there is a ridge, Jez, you're just lying. So there is a ledge. We'll do it on this side then. So all I do is I take my scissors and I sort of rest it. You can hear it's stopping. I sort of rest it against that ridge and I just cut straight up. Okie doke. And do the same here on the other side, and we cut straight up, because these are the flaps. You don't want the crease line on, you want it to be a nice clean straight cut. Okay, and we'll do the same on the other side. And so now I'm going to come back and I'm going to, there's a bit of ink on them, but I'm going to ink a little bit more of those edges. Not the little flaps so much, but these little edges that we've just cleaned, we've just cut. I want to add a little bit more ink to them. There we go. So now we go and we're just gonna notch each one of these squares. So we've got 3 squares on each side. We're just gonna do a little notch. One there. And there. So all the little score line that sticks up a bit, you're getting rid of them now. You're cutting them off. We don't want them. This makes the folding of the box in and the construction of it so much easier now. I think that's fine. I say, it's once you've got the hang of making a box like this, you can then measure anything and make it any size you want. I've missed one there at the end. You can make them square. It's a pizza style box, so, and they're square, but this is a rectangle one. So that's the shape you're going for. Now one of these is going to be the top and one of these is going to be the bottom. The top, you're just gonna do those two, and the bottom you're forming a box like thing, like so. So it's important to decide. In some of these the decision was made because the part of the file folder I used, that was where there was already a little bit of a scored line on it from the original file folder. This one I'm not really bothered in any way, except I maybe want that on the bottom. So this is going to be the top. So I want a finger hole. Actually, I'm looking at that. There's a bit of, where I misscored, which I maybe don't want on the top. You can kind of rub out a misscore because I kind of slightly slit, so I want that on the bottom now actually. Oh, I've remembered that. So this is going to be the top, so I'm just eyeballing that for the center, going up a tad. That's my little thumb hole, and I am gonna just add a bit more ink around that thumb hole. So we do the top last. Always do the lid of a box last, because that's how you make sure you can get it to fit. So these bottom ones, we know this is the bottom one because the notch is out at the top. We are going to put glue, and this is on the outside of the box. So we are going to glue, I'm using art glitter here, on all 4 corners. I tend not to use Collard, which is my favourite glue, on construction of boxes and things, because it doesn't glue as quick. Art glitter glues quickly. The other glue I use is the Tombow Mono, the green and white bottle, but that's very expensive. I mean, art glitter's not cheap, but I managed, I think when we were still in lockdown, I got a massive big bottle of art glitter glue quite cheaply, and it's still going strong. Probably because I don't use art glitter that very often, if I'm honest. But I have started now using it more often. Because I used to buy Tombow at the time from Stampin' Up when I was a demonstrator, but I'm not anymore, and I'm not paying the prices now. So we're just, I haven't told you what I'm doing. So you're forming a right angle there. So you want that straight edge to go up to that to make a right angle. Like so. I've just remembered something that I have forgot to do, so I'm going to do it now. So that's your little box base done. Just give those flaps a little bit of a burnish there. So because it's easier to stick this on whilst it's flat, I normally do it, you know, before I stick it down. I didn't, but there we go. So I'm going to stick this with Collard. I've printed this on 200 GSM cardstock because I was intending on cutting them out of my Scan and Cut, and it prefers that, and it does mean that it would be sturdy for sticking it on top of a, if I was sticking it on top of a tin. It's a bit more sturdy. You can see there's like a rust effect. I just love it. Love, love, love. So there we go. Stick that down. That's a wonderful green for this greeny file folder. It's a really cool colour. And you could, if you wanted to, stick another one on the inside, as I accidentally did. And that's how you're going to fold it down. So we want to glue on these 2 bits. And then what I do is I fold it down, fold one flap in, and then fold that down, and then you've got a nice good fit around the box. The art glitter sticks nice and quick. Fold the other one down, fold that one down in exactly the same way, giving yourself a nice tight fit. And then you can undo it, and then I take my bone folder and I just give it an extra good press, because you can't push really hard against the side. It is only cardboard, and that you can hear the tight fit. And that is your box. And then you can fill it with whatever you want, and you can have them on a shelf looking at you like that, and you can have your little labels on there so that you know what's in it. Or you could go sideways on a shelf and have labels across there with whatever you've got in it. And I've got my craft card one there as well. So I think they're cool. I love making my own crafty storage. I do have like plastic things. I quite like them so I can see through it. I've still labelled them, but they're cool as well. But there's something really quite satisfying about making your own. So yeah, hope that was useful. Hope that made sense with how I worked out the size, and hope you give it a go. Let me know what you think, and I shall be back with you with another little crafty video very soon. Bye for now.